I haven't bugged you guys about this for a while, so I feel like I should get a free pass. Look below this video, and if you haven't yet invaded that subscribe button, please do. I'd really appreciate it if you conquered it from me. Every little bit helps, so thank you. And also, I am still selling the USA ball and North Korean ball plushies, but there is literally only days left. This will be the last chance you ever get to get one of these. So this is the most popular term Googled in every US state for each day of 2021. So unsurprisingly, starting off the year, it was mostly Biden as the #1 search thing. I do really love the random Mega Millions lottery that kind of popped up. I think we'll probably see something like that again. Then by January 24th, we have GameStop trending throughout the entire country. GME is the abbreviation of their stonk. One thing I'm gonna love about this video is it's gonna remind me of all the crazy events that happened this year. There was also a Dogecoin uprising along with the weekend, but I don't think that has anything to do with stocks. Why is that? Oh, February? Oh, is that when the weekend played for the Super Bowl? Valheim was popping back in February of this year, but as for those electrical power grids, yeah, that not so much. Or maybe it was popping and that's what caused the outage. Valheim literally took over the entire country and then boom, stimmy baby. This is revealing so much about us as a society. Literally for almost the entire month of March, we just talked about that. Then boom, Lil Nas X and randomly Outriders. What is Outriders? Oh, an online game. How did I completely miss this? By April, we have Rip DMX. Next, gonna give it to him. Prince Philip for a brief period, and then Jake Paul, and then Dogecoin. Wow, we were a little sporadic. We were clearly very into our stunks because AMC now pops up. I can't believe that many people are searching Jake Paul. Like, that is how popular they have gotten at this point. Look at the tick across the board. Like, not even just a day later, just boom, everyone's onto a different thing. Man, Mississippi and Alabama both really like Dogecoin. Dogecoin had a little bit, oh, another power outage. How fun. Jeff Bezos all of a sudden in July. Simone Biles for a second there, and then, wow, what power outages were all these? America's favorite no-no Stanland was on everybody's mind until a hurricane hit for a second there. Jake Paul coming back. Oh, wow. I knew that girl was popular, but I didn't know the whole country was looking for her. Squid Game for a second. Wow, Squid Game didn't even take over all of the US. There was always one state that was looking at something else. Squid Game versus Urban Meyer. Let's have that play out in a battle royale. Alec Baldwin takes over in October. Another power outage. Travis Scott. Wow, Travis Scott. Well, getting a little edgy there. My favorite part is like how quickly things change. Like for one day, everyone talks about tornadoes. For just one day of December, and then boom. Oh, actually, it does come back. Except for in the 3 big states. Look at where Elon Musk is trending. New York, Texas, and California. That's where we leave off this map with. See, the Mega Millions did pop up. It just wasn't as popular. What is up with Mississippi? They've been like an outlier for most of this map. Speaking of stunks, I just put $500 into Roblox today. That's where my life's going. This was probably the single greatest rivalry that played out throughout the US states. Afghanistan versus Jake Paul. He had a strong invasion in the first half, but he couldn't win the war. Now, since we're on the topic of technology, let's take a look at how long it would take to read the terms of service agreements of popular online services. You know, the things that literally nobody reads. We're assuming most people read about 240 words per minute. At the bottom of our list, we have Instagram. It'd only take about 10 minutes to read that. Netflix is at 11 minutes, YouTube at 13. You know, when you put it like this, it doesn't sound that bad. Then there's Amazon, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Why is LinkedIn so high up there? Twitter, which would take almost 25 minutes. I wonder if it discusses all the ways you could ruin your life if you get on this social media. Uber, Tinder, Zoom. I guess with the video features of Zoom, that kind of adds to the legal issues. Apple, TikTok, Spotify #2, and then Microsoft. It would take you over an hour to read that. 15,000 words. In comparison, it would take you 71 minutes to read Macbeth, only 30 minutes to read the US Bill of Rights, and less than that to read the Code of, I was gonna say Harambe, but you know, it's same difference. Even the US Constitution is only 20 minutes long, so the average American would need to set aside almost 250 hours to properly read all the digital contracts they accept. I'm pretty sure these companies just pad their TOS with as much pointless paragraphs as possible so that you don't look too deeply into it. But Instagram has figured it out. I mean, they are going to just plainly tell you all the things they're going to do, and they know you're still not going to read it. How about this? Largest companies of all time. Pretty much all those companies we've just saw are extremely large by today's standards. Now, you'd assume those companies have got to be probably the biggest of all time, but you might be surprised. So in 10th place, we have Amazon, and then Alphabet, or basically Google. Standard Oil breaks the $1 trillion mark. Then there's Microsoft with their over hour-long TOS. Petro China, Apple, and then Saudi Aramco. Then in 3rd place, we have the South Sea Company by the British. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. It was founded in 1711. Then we have the Mississippi Company. I'm just gonna assume it's probably in that same industry, except it's the French version. Well, not entirely sure. It was founded in 1717, and it was a business monopoly in French colonies of North America. And now all my history experts knew it was coming. In first place, we have the Dutch East Indian Company. They can't keep getting away with this. They were close to 10 trillion in market capitalization. It helps that they started in 1602. It was basically like a corporate empire. Here's a map showing all of the countries of Europe that at one point had at least a single colony in America. A few of these should absolutely not be a surprise: Portugal, Spain, France. I'm curious why the UK is split up into Scotland and England. Was there something that I missed in history class? So they've had a number of attempts at either failed or abandoned colonies, one in Nova Scotia, another in East New Jersey. It continued throughout the 17th century until the Acts of Union was bonded. It continued even until 1735 went to Georgia. Also not too surprised about the Netherlands. We just talked about Belgium and the VOC. What's going on with Germany though? Germany probably has a big old asterisk next to it because maybe certain parts of Germany, you know, Germany was like the Holy Roman Empire at that time. The state of Brandenburg had St. Thomas, or a U.S. Virgin Island. Russia got there with Alaska. The Scandinavian countries got there when they were Vikings, or there were some weird outliers there too. What happened with Latvia though? Malta, believe it or not, are on this list. I've referred to this as the strangest colonies of all time. While we're on the subject of America, how green is Latin America's energy? Percentage of electricity produced from nuclear or renewables on the y-axis, and on the x we have produced from fossil fuels. Clearly Mexico seems to be a little bit of the outlier. So they're at like 30% renewables, but they're still using a lot of fossil fuels. Cuba's not using renewables, but they're also not using that much fossil fuels either. Venezuela's surprisingly doing okay with all their inflation. And look at this, at 100% Paraguay and Costa Rica. Those are very small countries, but they're getting the ball rolling. Brazil is also getting pretty high up there. And the circle size refers to the electricity produced per year, which Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico seem to be the big ones for that. Interestingly, most of Brazil's renewable energy comes from hydro, almost 75%. I guess they do kind of have a pretty famous river there, the Amazon. But we also have some rivers here in the US. This is showing the average flow in cubic feet per second. So of course, we're all going to be drawn to the Mississippi. You can see exactly how much water flows through this area every year. A lot of this stems all the way north from like Pennsylvania, even Montana, which eventually leads down through the Great Plains and meets up with it. Louisiana must be just a crazy place. The other big river is the Colorado, supplied by the Rockies. And then this explains all the trees in Cascadia. A lot of water over here. No wonder we're running out of water in California. We don't have any water. Literally every other state almost has water except for us. At least Florida gets resupplied by the hurricanes. Let's cover it again, the terminology of the British Isles. Let's start with the Republic of Ireland. The Republic of Ireland is just this part without Northern Ireland. All of Ireland would be the island itself. And we talked about how England is this part. Great Britain is a combination of England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom includes Northern Ireland, and the British Isles is everything. But also don't forget about the Isle of Man. So with that covered, maybe we can help explain the decline of the Celtic languages. Back in 400 AD, just about everyone spoke Celtic languages. And then 200 years later, Germanic languages took over almost half of England. Not a whole lot of progress was made in the next 200 years. Around this time period, you had the Viking invasion. So I kind of wonder what kind of massive impact that had on the languages here. Probably just introduced a lot more Norse. By the year 1200, it was almost just Scotland, Wales, and Ireland still Celtic. And then the decline has been relatively slow, but definitely steady until we get to the year 2000, and the Celtic languages are almost extinct. I didn't realize so much of Wales still speaks Celtic. Figured Ireland would be like the last stronghold. Here's probably a better animation showing exactly the type of Celtic languages, and maybe the inclusion of Nordic. There was a little bit of Old Norse I saw pop up there. So now you can really see the transition, and yeah, it's tough by the year 2000 AD. There's still a lot of Scottish Gaelic surviving because of these islands. Ooh, top countries by plug-in and electric vehicles market share. I would have no idea who'd be number one. Norway is running away with it here in 2015. Why Norway though? I kind of wonder. And where's the US on this list? The US is all the way down here by 1%. So yeah, I guess I should have known the continent of Europe is probably going to use a lot more electric vehicles. Okay, the US has completely dropped out of the list entirely. It is 2019. Whoa, Iceland is really catching up to Norway. It's really the Nordic countries, and then there's the Netherlands. Here comes Germany. So global electric vehicle market share is at 6%. It's really exploded since 2019. Wait, 80% of new cars in Norway are electric? Ironic considering Norway has been making bank on oil, right? 2021, yearly inflation or price increases throughout Europe and the USA. So some places in Europe have really kept it down, France being the specific one, 3% or less. That's amazing. Other countries not doing so well like Spain and Germany, but they're doing better than Belgium and Poland and Bulgaria. 7% increase in prices. Although that's still nothing compared to what we're seeing in the US. So we do have our 7% states, a lot in the deep south. But then this gray color, weirdly, which I thought usually represents no data, is showing 8% or more in the last year. Prices increase 8% or more. It's really just a lot of the coastal states and the Northeast that have kept it down to like 6%. As someone that doesn't invest, that seems bad. Let's talk about a much more pressing issue. How many people are actually washing their hands after they use the restroom? This is the percentage of whole population that wash their hands with soap and water after using the toilet. Turkey and Portugal seem to be doing pretty good, although even 85% doesn't sound like it's as much as it really needs to be. Bosnia is doing great here at 96%. France, what are y'all doing? 62? Spain too? Is everyone like flipping a coin? Boom, just flip it. Heads. Oh, no, I'm not gonna do it. This is a map of the over 2,000 meter deep ClBlr cave. And as you can see, you're really still just in the entrance by the time you've traveled the same height as the Eiffel Tower. So back in the 80s, they discovered the cave went at least negative 340 meters deep, but then at some point they realized it veered off and went even deeper. It went much deeper than even 500 meters. Eventually, an underground camp was built. This was at some point in August 1999. Travel even further and a second underground camp was built. This looks like a very thin spot you'd have to squeeze through. A year later, they thought they'd come to the end, but there was actually another path, a third underground camp. It actually splits off into two different ways. This one was founded in 2001. Okay, how many underground camps? This is a little terrifying. And then they finally realized they went more than 2,000 meters deep sometime in September 2003. And that's not even the deepest cave in the world. Apparently, it's this thing, which I won't pronounce. Veryovkina. Veryovkina? I tried. To think there are people living in this world that are literally playing real-life Minecraft. And big thanks to the Christmas patrons, AryanAfterHours, Drew's Arab Sugar Daddy. What are you doing, Step Drew? Why am I doing this? This is Gabe, Stormtrooper 501, Mind Brothers 9999 X2, McBlorf, Majestic Unicorn, LuxembourgLover, Ivan Lima, I Love Marx, Drew's Argentinian Grandpa, Dalton D, Cybernetic Ghost of Christmas Past from the Future, Barnsky W, and for His Excellency, King Corey.